A global maneuver for a better life, to unite the whole world seems like a crazy idea. The whole earth belongs to God. We are guests here, but we behave like owners. Men have forgotten how to negotiate for better agreement. If they knew how to negotiate, there would be no wars in the world. We understand that at some point we will have to head the Department of Government for the period of formation of our tasks. Unification of humanity will be implemented unequivocally. The only question is, humanity will unite now, before the future catastrophes and tragedies that are already on the way, or humanity will unite after global tragic events, and this will be only a small percentage of surviving people across the planet Earth.
В эфире Народное славянское радио.
Good afternoon, dear listeners and viewers. Today in our virtual studio is Vitaly Sanchez-Skachkov, film director, producer, actor, founder of the organization United Humanity of Mother Earth. Hi Vitaly. Hello everyone. Also we have here Denis Serdyuk, representative of the People's Slavic Unity of the German region, one of the founders of the People's Power Sovereign State Economy. Hi Denis. Hello, good afternoon. Today's broadcast is hosted by Alexey Orlov, main editor and presenter of the People's Slavic Radio. Hello, Alexey. Hello everyone dear listeners and viewers. I am Alexey Sherbakov, and today we offer you to listen and participate in the broadcast on the topic United Humanity of Mother Earth, as a new just world. Without delaying, I give you, Alexey, the microphone for broadcasting.
We have 7 topics announced today. We have been working on this broadcast for quite a long time, and now we have decided to do it. The first topic is the purpose of the organization. The second theme is the new ideological basis of the world. The third is our plans, further ways to realize the economic basis for informing the society, and so on. Well, and the unification of already existing organizations with similar goals into a single system. So as you can see, this is a global maneuver for a better life. I prefer to stand aside for a while and listen to the presentation of this whole project. I suggest that Vitaly and Denis get involved and elaborate on these topics. And after the disclosure, then I, Alexey, and you, our esteemed radio listeners, will join in the communication and conversation. Let's begin.
So, I've already been introduced as the founder of the organization United Humanity of Mother Earth. And I would like to start with the first point. I will read it out. This is the unification of humanity on the basis of ancient knowledge and the construction of a new world order. We gradually rid mankind of slave and useless existence, build a society of altruists living in harmony with nature and the universe, as well as the harmonization of the male and female energies flow in each person. I realize that many people will have a question. How did the guys undertake such a global project, when even the Slavs can't unite? And this is the unification of the entire humanity. We can see in today's situation, when whole humanity is so scattered in political, religious, spiritual, moral and many other aspects, their points of views differ on most issues, and to unite it all seems to be a crazy idea. But I approached it philosophically. The first thing that is necessary is that humanity must begin to perceive the world and planet Earth as a single organism, and each person as an individual cell living in this organism. It will be simply impossible to correct humanity and direct it to the right path. As long as we are all separated and everyone is only concerned about himself, we are heading towards self-destruction. When we talk about the unification of all humanity, first of all we point out that all nationalities, all peoples, ethnices, their cultures, traditions, languages, borders and states of different territories of residence should be preserved and respected. Respecting their territories and traditions, unless, of course, if they don't contradict common laws of universe and not threatens human existence. Is important that all humanity will realize that we are all one family on one earth, and the existence of each individual human being affects the benign existence of the earth. As long as this realization is not in everyone, we will lead humanity and Mother Earth herself to perdition, which is what we are witnessing at the moment. This is expressed in various climatic problems, climate failures and cataclysms occurring in different countries of the earth, as well as in discord, military conflicts, which bring tragically end for every nation. This philosophy of perception of the earth as our mother, if it reaches every inhabitant of the planet and everyone understands himself as an individual cell, it will completely change the situation to a better world. Not only that, there are so-called cancer cells in the body, which absorb and destroy everything around them, worrying only about their own existence. If you look at it, the world is in a state of egoism, Just everyone shows egoism in different degrees of expression. This selfishness leads to disunity not only between countries, but also within the proper country, reaching to conflicts within the family, where everyone thinks only of himself. Everyone is thinking only of his own goodness and his own comfort. This selfishness is destroying the planet. Today we are being ruined by personal egoism. The root of ego is the basic problem of humanity. We call for altruism, but not the kind prescribed in Wikipedia or dictionaries. Altruism can be interpreted in one simple phrase: if you want to do for yourself, do for everyone. But this is within the framework of common sense, ideology of morality, spiritual and moral concepts. We can perceive the world as a whole, and each person as a part of this whole. Then misunderstandings and claims to each other will disappear. When I hear, let's say, such a movement as the unification of the Slavs, I rejoice. Yes, finally Slavs begin to realize that it is necessary to be together, it is necessary to unite. Imagine our planet Mother Earth, for example, as a single big ship, and there will be, maybe, a bad example, if I call this ship as Titanic with a broken bottom. Each cabin is like a separate country. Now imagine, the Titanic has a breached bottom, several cabins decide to start uniting together for the good of salvation and so on. Yeah, well, okay, those cabins unite, work to save each other. But the other cabins? Eventually the whole ship sinks. The first thing that is needed here is to throw all the forces to fix this hole, fix the breach, in order to save the whole ship. Accordingly, if we save a few cabins, the whole ship will perish. And we are all inhabitants of one single ship, so saving, as they say, and directing only Slavs in the right direction is also a kind of egoism, because we think only about ourselves, we are Slavs and so on. Imagine if the African republics were only concerned with themselves, and the whole world is just dying out spiritually and morally, economically and politically, and there are wars everywhere. Africa united and that's it, they have a good life, they have a peaceful life and don't care about the rest of the world. As a result, those who live with parasitic views and under parasitic management, they will destroy the whole planet, and the salvation of only one Africa, only on their continent, will be useless, because the whole planet will die, if it all comes to nuclear war, which, in fact, now the demonic authorities of the world government are pushing our planet to. Accordingly, we realize that there will be no use in saving a few cabins on the Titanic. We need to unite, Slavs, but at the same time with the realization that we need to unite the whole planet, the whole world. There are other peoples who also want to live in peace and harmony, to have economic stability, to cover all basic needs of each person, to not worry about tomorrow in material terms. Because any person on the planet Earth, no matter what country he lives in, first of all devotes most of his time in search of means of living, and in this race for everyday conveniences, people forgets about spirituality, because there is no time left. One of the issues we will be raising is the number of working hours. This will be one of the topics of today's broadcast. In general, all people all over the planet are the same. I've lived out of Russia most of my life. I left my country when I was 20 years old, and now I'm 48, so I've lived most of my life abroad. And through these years of communicating with different nationalities, different representatives and peoples with whom I have communicated, I see that we are all the same. We all want the same thing: a good strong family, a good spouse. We all want our children to be well fed and well equipped. We all want the same things. We all want peace, a peaceful sky above our heads, stability, and basic household needs to be covered. But for some reason there are some strife, discord, wars for some pieces of land that belong to nobody but God. Therefore, when questions arise, this land belongs us or this is our land, the whole land belongs to the Almighty Creator, God. We are guests here, but we behave like owners. First of all, we should remember that we are guests on this land. We came here to get experience, so we should behave in the same way as in the place we were invited to, and show ourselves worthily. But we, as soon as we have been given the opportunity to live for 70 to 100 years, as long as it is given to us, we start to rule and fight. Accordingly, imagine how we look on this earth, as very brazen guests, and madmen at that. In this case, our organization was created to bring to all humanity the awareness that we are guests here in the first place. We are all one family, and Mother Earth is our mother, on which we were born. To divide it is sheer madness. Yes, preserving the borders of each state in order to preserve and respect the cultural peculiarities, traditions of each nation, their languages is obligatory, it is extremely important. But at the same time, we must do it peacefully and be able to negotiate for the better life of all humanity. And here is one of the main problems of today's humanity, first of all concerning men. Men had forgotten how to negotiate in fair terms. If they knew how to do it, there would be no wars. And, actually, I would like to pass the word to Dennis, who could announce some articles from the Declaration, which has already been developed by our organization United Humanity of Mother Earth. Namely, the Coordination Center, the inner circle and the council of members of this center have developed a declaration, which consists of several points. You can read it in its entirety on our website, which you see above my head, www.io. Accordingly, anyone who wishes after the broadcast and is interested, can visit our website and read the whole declaration there. And now I have voiced point 1. 1. And I suggest Dennis, a member of the organizing board, to voice the following points, starting from 1. 2, which actually reveal the essence of our organization.
I would like to add one more thing about altruism, that this is a new altruism that we are positioning. It is such altruism with a capital letter, when the altruist is able to protect, preserve and improve in line with divine providence. Regarding the articles, these are our declaration goals. Clause 1. 2. I want to say at once that the declaration is written in the present tense. It does not mean that we already finished it all, but we can already present it, and this is the first step. The declaration will be modified accordingly to perfection. We start this process, and those who are able and have the desire to join us and strengthen our process, our intention. That is the important point. It is also important to note that we have written in the beginning of the declaration as a note that the declaration does not have a final form, it is alive at the moment, it is in the process of formation of our life structure, and accordingly, we are going to improve it in the future from the point of view of moral and ethical norms of conscience and honor. This is such a commentary. Declaration. Paragraph 1. 2. We stop the race for money, the arms race, the race for pleasure, and provide an opportunity for self-improvement in individual self-sufficiency. Paragraph 1. 3. In the world that coming, we will live in a world without money. We affirm, protect and preserve a fair and transparent interchange of labor and material goods. Paragraph 1. 4. We build a new world without violence against people and nature, a world without competition, a world without alcohol, tobacco and drugs, a world without suffering and injustice, a world without greed and crime. Paragraph 1. 5. The basic values are human life, nature and its inhabitants, Mother Earth and divine providence. Paragraph 1. 6. The purpose of humanity is to live in harmony with the whole universe, in love, brotherhood and altruism. Item 1. 7. Mission and goals. Establishment of harmonious relations in harmony between people and nature, between people and the Creator. Point 1. 8. One of the main goals is to harmonize the flow of male and female energy in each person, where balanced men and women harmonized in nature balance and live in prosperous society based on happy families. I want to expand on this theme a little. In every man and woman there are masculine and feminine energy. Violation of their balance leads to degradation of their qualities and properties, which distorts masculinity and femininity. A woman with overestimated masculine energy is not able to fulfill masculine tasks the way an energetically properly balanced man does. At the same time, a man with an overestimated female energy is not able to fulfill female tasks as an energetically correctly balanced woman does. Distorted energetic balance of man and woman, i.e., imbalance, in terms of their male and female energy, is the root of all problems in modern society. The following paragraph 9. When we as all humanity reach the state of complete sufficiency of spiritual and moral education and awareness of unity, harmonious relationship with the whole universe, replacing money with a fair and transparent indicator of the norm of labor, then, we come to a new world of justice, in harmony with each other and between all peoples of the planet Mother Earth, thus preserving, protecting, harmonizing their traditions, culture and ways of life with each other. In the new world, everyone has a material basic income for a decent and sufficient life in self-perfection, where the concept of rich and poor passes to the sphere of soul and spirit depends on the efforts in self-perfection of everyone. In the new world, everyone is important, everyone is God's creation, everyone contributes to the divine providence of Mother Earth. This is the first section. There are a few more points from this section concerning the first question. Paragraph 2. 8. The purpose of humanity's life on planet Earth is the continuation of the human race on Earth as a reasonable and divine creature, which seeks to develop the qualities of God in itself, creating and cooperating with the entire living universe, the formation of humanity as a part of the whole unified organism in accordance with the design of the one Creator, in harmony and balance with the nature of Mother Earth and its inhabitants. The next point, free will of every sane person is the highest value on the path of spiritual ascension, which excludes violence and degradation. Mutual cooperation, mutual respect, mutual understanding, mutual support and mutual aid help to form an altruistic person capable of protecting, preserving and perfecting this world in accordance with the divine design. This is all that we would like to voice from the declaration on the first question. I would like to add more. It is, of course, very declarative in the present tense, which is not yet realizable. But what is realizable is what we intend to voice at this moment. The unification of mankind is based on ancient knowledge. I will emphasize for myself that for the last 30 years. Well, I will speak about Slavs. I can't talk about other nations. Now I want to speak about the Slavic world, that is, for 30 years, although there was a great disparity in our Slavic currents in some notions. Yes, we couldn't agree on some spheres of life, we didn't agree with it, we didn't accept it, but still in this process we collected such grains, which probably now in these movements are collected and remain. Our task now, as we see these grains, is to gather them together and offer the world the life structure from these grains, according to which we could realize everything that I have just voiced. In accordance with this, I would like to share that I am a representative of the Slavic people's unity in the region of Germany. And when this project was created, I was a member of the council of the first creators of the project. We founded this project together with women, created Telegram groups all over the world. I was responsible for part of Europe. I created 20 to 30 groups in Europe, as far as I could, all European countries, created chat rooms, groups of people's Slavic unity, with the purpose that we could harmonize the Slavic world all over the world with each other. So, accordingly, on this base we have spent a lot of work for a year to find out what our vitalism is. I and Alexei Orlov participated in it, and we gathered, had meetings. We have created such an image, a daisy of the direction of life building, the sphere of activity. If there is an opportunity, I would like to show you an example, make a demonstration of the screen and show you roughly how it looks like. This small scheme is called the powerful life of the united humanity of Mother Earth. We created a symbol of six-petal daisy. Six-petal daisy, it is connected with the fact that there is such a concept as a honeycomb, hexagonal. There are different symbols of six-pointed stars, which relate to our worldview and to other people's. Here we have placed this symbol in the symbol that is claimed by the agency of Mother Earth, that is a circle with a dot inside. We position it as the cone of the universe, symbol of law of universe, is the main symbol of our organization. Accordingly, our declaration was written from our understanding of the cone of creation, in English meaning is law of creation. We are not describing the law of the universe yet, we are not in a hurry, but we proceeded from our understanding of the law of the universe, from what we have already absorbed during these years. Here, accordingly, you can see the directions here. I would like to point out that there are 6 petals, and this is the declaration, which now read out one of the first points. Yes, there are 6 of them, and each petal is each section of the declaration, and each of these petals is revealed there. So we invite you to go to the website to look at the declaration. Look at this diagram, and see for yourself some parallels. If you see something, share what we don't see. We are open, we interact, and we are against turning any knowledge into dogma. That is why we are open for discussions. Further down at the bottom, we have clarifications. The point is that this is not just a daisy. If you pay attention, we have a white circle in the center, then we have a yellow circle and then a translucent circle. This is a figurative expression of Slavic Russian varnosity. Slavic Varna. Varna means determining the spiritual and moral level of development of each person, that is, here we mean the spiritual path of formation, which a human being, each of us, passes through. And we, taking into account the knowledge of Alexei Orlov, have described it here, but with a link to our declaration. We have made this link here, so that there would be synchronization with the declaration. I'm going to read it out now. We called it the levels of the Varnas of the united humanity of Mother Earth, the power management of the collective mind in the way of the law of universe. We see it all together as a whole. The law of universe and the Varna system are mutually enclosed one into the other. This is a topic of other broadcasts. I just want to say that starting from the 4th, it implies the 4th Varna. We have called it by this name, the deciders under the priesthood, power international cooperation. White circle in the center. So we have designated the 4th Varna by this name. How to explain? The supreme under the priesthood. That is, we have come to the understanding that those who are managers, they make a decision, but they have a priesthood, a circle of advisors who, when asked, can expand their worldview. Because it's one thing to make a responsible decision, it's another thing to be competent. It's not the same thing. That's why we have such a message in this regard. The 3rd stage of Varna, the rulers under the council of sages, unions of communities and cooperatives. That is the yellow circle, that is the 3rd Varna. 2nd, rulers under the council, communities and cooperatives, the light part of the petals, the transparent part. This means that the managers are already such maters, but they lack experience. So the advice is that they may not be sages, but they are quite competent in their fields, professions, skills. The 1st stage is labeled as Kopny men and their families. Kopny man means a man capable of making wise decisions. That is, the 1st stage, managers, is a Kopny man, who corresponds to a Kopny man, who is responsible for his family to the society and to his family for what happens in this society and how he reconciles these concepts. This will all be detailed in the next broadcasts. At this point, I have concluded the narrative of this scheme. Thank you. In principle, I have concluded my presentation on the first question.
In the declaration, Dennis spoke about one of the points where it says that in this case our society is very disharmonized in terms of male and female energy, which is present in every person. I think that for the majority of listeners of Slavic folk radio it is not a secret and not a novelty that in every person there is both male and female energy. Harmonization of this energy creates a sane person. If there is a violation, an imbalance, it manifests itself in different qualities. If a man has excessive feminine energy, then the qualities manifested in his character, behavior, actions and statements will be inclined to feminine qualities, respectively. It is more emotionality, it is some resentfulness and some other moments. Female qualities in a man, they look very ugly. But in a woman it is quite normal, because it is a female manifestation. It's when a woman takes offense, it's normal. When a woman is emotional, it's normal. That is her quality. That is her condition. That's the same thing when a woman goes into imbalance, and she has more masculine energy than feminine energy, then it manifests, again, in her actions. At the initial stage of this disruption, she may show somewhere stubbornness, persistence and not malleability, as in general with her husband or with any of her relatives or friends. These are many other qualities. As a result, when all this is very much neglected, she can already seats at the wheel of a truck and work as a loader or mover and whatever and look like a man. In this case not any man who is energetically balanced, harmonized in himself won't be interested in a such male-looking woman. Being in an appropriate natural balance, he will not be attracted to such a woman. At the moment, what we observe is that the majority of the society of any country, we are not talking only about Russia, it concerns the USA also, where I am now, it concerns European countries as well, that the majority of the population of the planet Earth, they are imbalanced. We have most of men who have more feminine energy, and women have more masculine energy. It is inherent in women. First of all, a woman will always be exactly what the men in her environment are. If men will be corrupted and, accordingly, prodigal, then the woman gradually becomes just like that. She always corresponds to men's environment and men's values. Accordingly, if we blame women today that many of them dress like harlots and behave inappropriately and completely immerse themselves in the material world and pursue only materialism, it is first of all the fault of men themselves, because what kind of men or what value they chase, women become like that. A woman in any country is an indicator of what happens to men in that country. In this case, I have to say that this imbalance affects both the families themselves, which become unstable and fall apart at the first stage, and the number of divorces, as you see, every year and every decade, it is growing all over the planet, and as far as I know, Russia is one of the leading places on earth in terms of divorces. So it shows, again, this imbalance. When conflicts start within families, and these conflicts start first of all because they are imbalanced. A man shows feminine qualities, a woman shows masculine qualities, and then a man starts to think, well, I should be the boss in my family, but she starts to rule me. That's how a woman starts to rule, because you are not a boss. You want to be a boss, but you do not show the qualities of a boss, you only want to be one, but to seem and to be, it is not the same. That is why you seem like a man, but behave like a woman. This applies to the majority of males, because many of them cannot be called men. Accordingly, where does this imbalance come from? I will try to say it briefly in 2 words, because I think it is the root cause of all problems of all humanity. First of all wars that are organized on the planet Earth, they pursue not only the purpose of destruction and conquest of lands, destruction of the state system, enslavement of these people, no, first of all, the strong men of this nation are cut out, destroyed, because the nation rests on these strong men. And in war, as a rule, the strongest and the bravest, the most courageous are the ones who die. The bravest ones, they go to defend their homeland. Cowards don't belong there, cowards stay in the rear and look for an excuse to stay there. As a result, the strong men die. Let's take the same example, the Second World War, when tens of millions of people were killed, primarily the male population. What happened after that? After that, women were left with children, many of them had husbands who died in the war. She has to pull this economy by herself. Most of the world's population used to live in their homes with their own households. Now everyone has moved to the cities, but back then they lived in their own households, farms, working hard on their land. Imagine, a woman even with 1 child, not to mention that at the beginning of the 20th century there were 2 to 3 and even up to 9 children in a family. It was a norm. So, one woman with so many children. What can she do? She has to become strong, she starts to show masculine qualities. The very nature of a woman obliges her to do this. She becomes strong, she starts to work at home and in the household, and at the same time she works in a collective farm or at some enterprise, wherever she is living. She has to do well. She develops and manifests all the masculine qualities, just for survival. And now think about it, a woman without a husband, Who has developed masculine qualities? Who will she bring up? Everyone realizes that no woman will ever make from a boy a man. It's against nature itself, just as no father can bring up feminine qualities in his daughter. He can give her warmth, affection, love, show an example of what her future husband should be, but to bring her up a real woman cannot. Only a mother makes a real woman out of her daughter. Only father makes a real man of his son. But if the mother herself behaves like a man, because she must do so, otherwise the family will not survive, the daughter adopts these qualities and becomes the same. She copies her mother, and sons in this case first become more subservient to the woman, their mother, because in the house women command. The mother. He is accustomed from childhood to being commanded by his mother. In school by his teacher who is a woman in most of schools. This is already the first stage of a subservient man, a man subordinate to a woman. He loses his ability to take decisions, to be strong and responsible. I'm not saying it's bad, that you shouldn't listen to women. Women, they are very wise, wonderful, and their voice should be heard. But the center of decision-making should be with a man, and he is already accustomed to the fact that the center of decision-making in the family is a woman, and he is only an accomplice, a helper in the family. That's how he was with his mother, he just grew up to be a helper and obeyed, otherwise he would get in trouble. And he will fall hard, because she realizes that he must be kept hard, otherwise she will not be able to cope with him. There is no father. What does it all add up to? This boy grows up to be a man who's already pussy-whipped, he's already at that stage. He get married and now he is a family man, and all he has learned, the example he had is a broken family with disharmonization of energy and mismanagement. He gets a son born, a daughter born, and they get the same thing. His wife came from a similar family where the mother ruled, dragging the whole family on her back. Eventually his new wife becomes the same kind of ruler, and he is used to being ruled by his mother at home. She came from a family where her mother was ruled by her, because everyone grew up without fathers. These fatherless women create who? The same kind of similar already disharmonized children, and so it goes on and on. This lump is getting bigger and bigger, and where does it all lead? Look from the beginning of World War II to today. Look at the men before World War II. Every plowman at the same time is a warrior. And look at what we have today. Look at the military enlistment offices. When guys come for a checkup, they're worse off than before. It's for the motherland, for the state, it's scary. Who will protect the country? They will do? Are they the ones who will defend it? And in other countries? I'll say the same situation in European countries, the same United States of America. That's where I am now. I have visited thousands of families in the last 3.5 years. I go inside, I see the family way of life, the order, everything that is going on. I can say for sure, in American families where I have been, 90% of the cases the ruling authority in the family, not just in the house, but in the whole family, is a woman. The center of decision-making is the woman. The man can't make decisions, always asking a woman. He doesn't decide anything. And you think Russian families are an exception? Men today are shifting responsibility from themselves to women. It's easier for him, He doesn't have a headache, because he is completely immersed in his work. He has worked, thank God, 8 hours. This is in rare cases, but more often he works 10, 12 or more to feed his family. That's the way the system is built. The system does not benefit from a strong and balanced man. He must be, as they say, half woman half man. That's why there's this LGBT propaganda going on, because a strong balanced man will not allow the government to steal from him, to make some anti-human laws and obey them. He won't. Why is there such unquestioning obedience to anti-human laws today? Because men are busy only to provide for their families. That is the only responsibility he has taken upon himself. I brought you money, feed the family, solve all other issues. He is exhausted, he has left all his energies at work. At home, he comes home simply empty, he has no energy left neither to bring up his children, nor to somehow establish relations, to balance them with his wife. He counted the means, brought the money, and that's the end of it. That's it, he's done, his job squeeze him out. Yeah, he's exhausted. It's understandable, because it's very hard to earn money to support a family today. And if you have children, you are a slave to your family. It turns out that this is how society is built today. Any man who has children is a slave to his family, because he cannot provide for it without leading a slave lifestyle, namely to work from morning till night for his boss to earn money for bread, for clothes for his children and to pay for housing, which most often is not his own, but rented. Most of humanity today lives in rented apartments without having their own homes. What kind of system is this? It turns out that the state, the system, is not interested in the fact that the mankind, their people, live in goodness, comfort, and at the same time engage in self-education and spiritual and moral growth? No, because in power are enemies, demonic entities, who have an interest in making us voluntary slaves. Therefore, advertising of different plushies, interesting things that we can be interested in, and in the race for these benefits, we languish all our lives. Oh, nice jeans, nice clothes, Versace, Gucci. And now a luxury car if he wants. It takes so much money. That's it. It takes a lifetime. We live our whole life for the sake of worrying about our body, how to make it more comfortable, so that the body was comfortable, well dressed, well shod, and the soul is forgotten. And it all comes from there. Imbalance of male and female energy is the first basis. It is the main problem of today's man. When we talk about uniting the humanity of Mother Earth, it will be simply physically impossible to unite imbalanced people. They don't even realize that this unification is necessary. They are preoccupied with materialism, material needs, immersed in their everyday life, worries about everyday life. They are in the race for material values. So expect them to want to unite. No one needs it, they don't want it. But they will be forced to do it, because Mother Nature is pushing us to it today. Various cataclysms, catastrophes, wars, of course, this is not from nature, but from the parasitic government. All this will force people to unite. Therefore, what we call for will be realized unambiguously. The only question is whether humanity will unite before these tragedies that are coming, or whether it will unite after these tragedies and small handfuls of people will remain all over the planet Earth. The question is not whether we will unite, but how many of us will unite and how quickly people will realize that it is necessary to unite. And you need to unite even if you unite on the territory of African republics or somewhere in Latin America. The United States of America, which is called United. Living here, I see that they are disunited States of America, because only one flag unites them, but in general they are disunited. So when you unite, those Slavs, you remember that a few cabins on a ship with a destroyed bottom will still wreck the ship. And the fact that a few boats will be saved, no one will come to save us in this ocean of the universe, because we are guilty that our ship has sunk. Nobody's going to save those boats. In the end they will remain in this ocean and are doomed to perish. So the only way out for humanity is to realize that we are all on one ship. No matter how differently our cabins are called, no matter how we label ourselves with names and nationalities, no matter what color of skin you have, no matter what different traditions you have, no matter what different religious views you have, you just have to respect that. Even the religion of other people should be respected as their choice. And we should unite on one basis only: we are all inhabitants of one planet. Look at all the warriors in the cemetery. What have they achieved? Do they care now whose Donbass and Crimea are? Does it matter to them? Does it matter to them situation in Ukraine? Nothing matters to them now, their bodies are feeding the worms. This is the greatest stupidity that mankind does. And here we are trying to urge humanity that let's realize this before it's too late and do it now. Because when it's too late, it will be too late and nothing can be undone. Once the Titanic goes down, there will be no stopping the process. While we are still afloat, let's realize it right now so that we unite on the ship and patch the holes. Otherwise we will be united in the same dinghy. That's all I wanted to say before moving on to the next topic. And let me open the second topic, which is actually complementary to the first topic. It sounds like this: the new ideological basis of the world is the world of altruistic people, the perception of Mother Earth as a single organism and each person as a living cell of the organism. What we have already talked about before. A society of people living according to the principles of cooperation, mutual support and mutual assistance. Today's world is built on the basis of rivalry. Each of us, our children, grandchildren, everyone who goes to get education, already from there starts their process of rivalry. Every student who is in the same class with him is a potential rival, because later, after they get the same profession, they will compete: who will get this or that position, who will succeed, who will get more salary, who will get into a more promising company. Organizations compete with each other, different corporations compete with each other, countries compete with each other. Well, now let us imagine the Earth as an organism, human body as an ideal example from God to perceive our world correctly. Here every organ in a human being is a separate state, a separate country, and the cells in this organ are people. Imagine if the liver declares war with the kidneys, the spleen will fight with the pancreas, and the heart wants to take over the whole organism and will send poison that poisons different organs. The result is clear: the body will die. Don't you think that's what humanity is doing today? Understanding blood as energy, the same money we use is energy. Blood flows through the body, and let's say the heart decides. Let's call it the dollar system, the center from which blood is sent to all organs. The kidneys don't want to obey us, they have a life of their own. Let's cut off that blood flow, which in our case is dollars or economic and trade flows. The kidneys will fail. If you cut off the blood flow to some other organ, it will fail or work barely, and, accordingly, the whole body, the whole organism suffers. If the heart is so crazy that it cuts off the blood flow to different organs, where is the control center? It's the brain. And who controls brain? A secret demonic world government. A government that leads the entire body to destruction. It turns out that by the example of our body we can begin to understand what is happening in the world in general, If we compare it with our body, the body is created by God as an elementary scheme of ordering the world. If you want everything to be good in the world, compare it with your body, with your organism, and you will understand how to organize everything. Compare each organ with some countries, and only then you will understand how to organize everything. There is no other way. This is the only example that can be used to convey to mankind what is happening to us, what is wrong, how to act correctly and how to feed it correctly in the same informational plan. Because information is food, the same food we eat. You can be poisoned by food, you can be saturated with it, and you can receive it in certain doses. But at the same time it should be pure, favorable, which, accordingly, will be beneficial. We have no control over information flows. The internet has turned into a world garbage dump. All this flies into people's consciousnesses. Who are we raising? It's easy to check. Look on the internet, how some nonsense stupid video gets 15 million views. It's just nonsense, crazy, 15 million hits. When the right information is brought to people, for example, has Slavic radio ever gotten a million views? No. Why? Nobody needs it. They don't want it. They have already grown up as consumers, who are not interested in spiritual and moral issues. They're already going on the beaten path, on a hunch, where they've been directed. And this is the abyss. This is self-destruction, and we cannot bring this to humanity. I have very much developed the second topic, so I am interrupting myself a little bit, because I can talk non-stop. I would like to pass the word to Dennis, my like-minded friend and a member of the United Humanity of Mother Earth Coordination Center, to reveal some of the points of our declaration. Let's say 2, 7 and so on. Anything further we have on the subject. Dennis, I'll pass the word to you and thank you for your attention.
Okay, let's continue. Let's read out on this topic. We have a paragraph from the Declaration 2.7. The purpose of the educational centers of excellence is to prepare a person for good interaction in society. In the process of education, a person determines in which field of activity he is able to bring maximum benefit to society, doing what he loves and shaping himself as a better person by improving his natural qualities. We make efforts to preserve the traditions and culture of all peoples, preserve and multiply the heritage of ancestors, and educate children with their ancestral tradition and cultural heritage. Article 22.11. We reach the highest level of consciousness and morality. Mankind passes to the next level of development of creation of the material world by the power of thought, spiritualization of matter on the way of formation of nature-based thinking. Man is based on peace to everything. 4.1.15. The main purpose of the activity of communities, cooperatives and unions, is to satisfy the material, mental and spiritual needs of their community members, contributing to the development and self-improvement of man. 4.2. With a new worldview of all earthlings and a new world order based on cooperation, mutual help and mutual support, excluding any kind of competition, mankind comes to live in joy and love, realizing itself in nature as a single whole organism, part of a single universe. 4.2.3. Having studied and realized the ideology of the universal worldview, people move from competition to spiritual cooperation, joint creative actions for the common good and self-improvement. 4.2.4. The main goal of society is the spiritual formation of man on the basis of realizing himself as a part of the whole and deep understanding of his participation, his influence on the whole world. Interaction with all people on the basis of cooperation, mutual help and mutual support, for the sake of the common good. Nurturing in ourselves and our descendants the highest human qualities, feelings and conscience. 4.2.5. All countries and states retain their borders and territorial designations. At the same time, there are no obstacles to the free movement of inhabitants on planet Earth. Every inhabitant of the planet can say about himself, "I am an Earthling, going anywhere on Earth for the purpose of traveling or learning the culture and traditions of different peoples." Here, I have read out those topics that correspond to this theme. I pass the floor.
Actually, on this topic, I think more than enough has been said. Our broadcast time is limited. Let's try not to drag this out too long. We have a third topic that we wanted to announce today. These are our plans for the gradual construction of a new society, as well as a program of adaptation and awareness of oneself and one's place in society for representatives of all four Varnas. I will open this topic, then Dennis will declare what we have on this topic. So we understand that there are four Varnas. Those of our listeners and viewers who are not familiar with this understanding of Varnas, Alexei Orlov has very deeply and competently revealed these topics, but this video will be translated into foreign languages, and so for foreign listeners I will explain. The four Varnas, into which all humanity is divided, are meant in brief as follows. The first Varna are people who live with rather primitive perceptions of the world, providing themselves with everyday comfort. I need everything to be fine, I am comfortable, and the rest does not bother me. Then gradually this person in the process of development moves to new stages and, accordingly, can already start a family and worry only about the family. The second Varna is already concerned about the welfare of his family. Representatives of the second Varna think, I want my family to be good, to have enough, to have my own house, my own household and sufficient income. These are already slightly more generalized views. They start to think and worry about society. The third Varna already begins to perceive the world as a whole as a society, and they are concerned about social processes and states, and even planetary issues. The fourth Varna tries to organize the whole world to the best of their ability, bringing certain knowledge, teachings, transmitting them, in order to control this society in balance and good existence. Well, that's about it, in a nutshell. Of course, I can't convey everything exactly as Alexei can, but maybe he will correct me later, and that would be good. Here, in general, to please and convince all four Varnas is what we do, and there is an undeniable argument that unification is extremely important for all four Varnas. First of all, a representative of any Varna wants to live in peace, with a peaceful sky over his head, so that there is no war. A representative of any Varna wants this, and we are leading mankind to this with our project, our organization. Further, a representative of any Varna wants his family to be fully provided for, and in our program, in our declaration, all this is stated. We are striving to achieve this. The same thing we will declare further. A member of any Varna wants his family to be well-to-do and his children to get the right education so that they don't have to worry about them. That they, because of their education, get a decent income, and that later on, when you are in your old age, you don't have a headache about how your children or grandchildren are living. You are sure they are doing well, and we give that too. Our programs lead to this. Everybody wants love, goodness, everybody wants prosperity, at least basic prosperity. The other desires are additions, yes, but at least the basic needs should be covered. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants peace and love. Accordingly, the main thing that concerns any representative of our planet, all these interests we cover for all four Varnas. We can reveal this in more detail in a next broadcast, but more briefly I've outlined it now. Therefore, it is very important for everyone to understand that this organization is like an economic family. United Humanity of Mother Earth is a kind of economic family. It is the center of assembly of the whole planet. It is the center of assembly of all organizations, all like-minded people who think the same way as we do. And there are a lot of such organizations, but all of them are scattered. All of them somehow try to run schools, creating education centers, somewhere and somehow to exist and gather someone around them. And it does not work out. We have opened this planetary assembly center not by showing ourselves off. That's how great we are here. No, we are simple people like you, just like everyone. Why did we take on this project? Because no one else is doing it. And if someone is trying to do something like this, it is most often pursued for selfish purposes, collecting money, announcing that here, let's throw donations into our account, we will start to change the world. This is wrong. People don't have enough money, and you're going to collect money from them? We have already been joined by such individuals who wanted to join our organization, pursuing material interest. And I do not want to disclose their names in order not to discredit these people, to give them the opportunity to realize that this is not the right way, and to go the right way. So collecting money from the public to organize is wrong. We have our own technologies, our own techniques. We have our plans, some of which we will be able to discuss today. We will not announce most of them, so that, as they say in Russian, we do not get sticks in our wheels. We have a plan of action. We can do something. At this stage, I would like to pass the word to Dennis, who will announce some points from the declaration that correspond to this topic. This is 1, 2, 1 and onwards. Thank you.
1, 2, 1 Self-government is carried out on the basis of the principles of truth, justice, cooperation, mutual support, mutual assistance. 1, 2, 2 All socially significant decisions are made by means of reaching an agreement by all participants of voting on the basis of Kopavesh law. Kopavesh laws is the law of managing and making decisions by the best, honest and fair entrepreneurs from the People Council and discussing all political, social and everyday issues by gathering in a circle of wise men. 1, 2, 3 Every person who has received the right to manage is an elected manager according to the system of the Kopavesh law. In case of inability to fulfill the tasks of a manager in a qualitative and conscientious manner, the manager is re-elected to a more efficient manager. This is determined by a decision of the relevant circle of authorized managers, if necessary by a council with advisory voting rights, or he transfers the management by his own will. 1, 2, 5 The main goal of any self-government is the benefit and self-improvement of all earthlings. 1, 2, 8 The managers of each higher level are elected and recalled by the elected managers of the lower level. 2, 3, 1 The labor day for all earthlings does not exceed 5 hours, which allows to engage in self-education, creativity, arts, sciences, self-knowledge, formation of nature-appropriate type of thinking, to devote time to their families and children, which is the primary basis of a healthy society. 2, 3, 4. In society, human life, lived for the benefit of oneself and society, is the main value, which is defined as a unit of labor commodity hour of basic need in the collective for fair interchange between people, goods and services, where the calculation of commodity hour of basic need in the collective is based on the value of goods and services created for the actual number of hours in the collective. 2, 3, 5. Labor provides a basic income to everyone to cover their basic needs. The basic income and basic needs shall be determined and established in each community by their governing board. Note: following the above labor plan allows us to move completely out of wage labor and into creative labor, where there are only collective owners, united by the contribution of the self-government of the Copal Law.
Thank you, Dennis. Actually, the topic has been covered, and before moving on to the next one, I will make a small addition. Alexei Orlov very often talks in his video addresses about the 4-hour working day, which we fully agree with. This, in fact, is the main goal, to reduce the working day to 4 hours. But why do we have 5? I will explain. 1 hour, a labor hour, which will be paid at the enterprise, but it will be devoted to basic education, or rather, in today's language, to re-educating the worker to a new system of interaction both in society and in interstate relations. Accordingly, in general, re-education of people to a new way of life. In order to move to a new world, you need to get new knowledge. Today, everyone runs to work just to get what they need to cover their needs and get back home faster. But if we open up and start implementing this new system in our lives, people will come in and say, I want to cover all my needs in 4 hours. They'll be told they need to get some knowledge, pass a course in education centers. They may say, well, yes, maybe I will run later, I will come to your center, maybe I will come, maybe I will not. This results in a misinformed or information avoiding community. Give many people today a 4-hour working day and say, in your free time, please go to an educational center and pass the course. Most of them avoid it. They have free time, and they want to do their wants. For example, let's go to get some barbecue food, have fun, let's also go to visit, to the cottage, to swim in the lake, river or sea. All the free time will go to this just to have fun and enjoy the free time. Therefore, in order to prepare humanity for a new stage of transition to a new universe, to a new world order, it is necessary for everyone, without exception, to undergo re-education. This process of re-education can be included only in the paid working hours. Then a person is already motivated to get this knowledge, because it is included in the paid labor hour. He is paid not for 4 hours, but for 5, but he spends 1 hour at the enterprise or at the educational center of the enterprise, receiving education. If there is no such a center at the enterprise, he must go to the educational center, mark there that he has completed an hour-long course, which will enable him to receive a basic salary for the time worked. This hour is essential. Later, when humanity is fully re-educated and ready to interact in the new world, this hour can be cancelled or replaced by more necessary organizational moments, but the working day must be 4 hours. That's exactly the purpose of this. I understand that Dennis has something to add. I'd like to give him opportunity and then I'll come back to the next topic.
Yes, I wanted to add for myself about this 5th hour. I have a message as an idea. Now the transition from an 8-hour working day to a 4-hour working day is not an easy process. It is psychologically difficult, as you described. So there should be incentive directions. Here we have an 8-hour working day. For example, there are some places for self-time activities in the organization. Carpentry, where you can carve, women can knit, do useful sciences, educational courses. And you can stimulate people in this way. There was such an experience in the USSR. People worked very quickly, exceeded the norms, and could earn space money, but the norms were often underestimated so that there were no financial problems. I am not talking about the race for money, but about stimulating people to do quality work. If you work qualitatively, if you shorten your working day, make products faster and of higher quality, you have official time for a workshop and training. No one will yank you for it, you don't have to hide. Like this moment you finished your work, save time, and not to do extra work encrypted, so that no one saw do their own thing. And here you have an incentive. Worked hard, saved time, went to officially study or do useful work. But it will not be entertainment, but useful activity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, for a competent and useful addition. I think we can move on to the next topic. We have sufficiently covered the previous one. The next topic is our ways of achieving our goals. This is a very important topic that concerns many people. Now many people speak beautiful words and tell everything competently, but there are no actions. We took it up because no one else does, and this is our main task. I will say that the main first stage goals can be 3 points. We will not go into more detail, it will be long. We can devote a whole broadcast to our ways of achieving our goals. We can't cover everything, because we are listened to not only by good listeners, but also by those who are looking for weaknesses in our organization. The first is the creation of educational centers. Not only for children, but also for adults. Today's children are our tomorrow's people. If we miss the process of spiritual, moral and ideological education of children, the future will be terrible. Educational centers are needed for both children and adults. Today adults, who have received education, have business, someone in politics, with cars and houses, and money enough, but they should realize that material wealth is not everything. If the bottom of the ship is broken, with all their material goods, with all their comforts and cars, they will fly into the same pit. If it does not come to them and they do not realize it now, it is very difficult to call them reasonable, successful and intelligent businessmen and businesswomen. Because if you think everything is fine in your cabin and the ship has a broken bottom and is going down, staying in your cabin and rejoicing in the comfort of that cabin is foolish. Sane people need to be aware of what is happening on a global level. If you have awareness, contact us, together we will lead the world on a new path. Personnel decide everything. A phrase of Joseph Stalin that many people don't like. Like any man, he is not infallible, but he did a lot of good. Judge people by their good and productive deeds. And if you judge for mistakes, you can just bury any person. Slogan number 1, human resources decide everything, is a balanced society. For balance we need not only educational centers, but also centers for women, where women will streamline their energies, develop feminine qualities and wisdom. Men will engage in sports sections, raise their testosterone levels, and become real men. Although, again, not everyone who goes to the gym is a real man. It is possible to pump big muscles, while remaining with such, let's say, not very masculine character, yes, and show not masculine qualities. The volume of muscles does not show, as they say, your masculine core. That's why the main thing is the hardening of the spirit. Big muscles without strength of spirit are nothing, just as knowledge without spirit is nothing. The knowledge that we call for, they can be possessed by enemies, who really possess deep and esoteric knowledge, know our ideology, Slavic traditions and ancient knowledge. But knowledge is nothing if its possessor by nature is a parasite and his spirit is beggar. He is simply a spiritless essence, and there is no use of such knowledge. Knowledge must be strengthened by the spirit to realize it in life. Today there are a lot of men in Slavic movements who have gained knowledge, shout slogans to the camera, at gatherings, lead round dances, walk around the fire and hold festivals, but they do not have the spirit to put it into practice. Because there are no masculine qualities, and if they have them, they are fake. For example, they organized a struggle, they felt themselves men, but if they still live in slavery, if they have beggar old men picking up garbage in the streets, a spiritually strong man cannot let such things happen around him. If this happens around you, if no one needs children in orphanages, if old people live in poverty, if retired people are poor, if the country is in a mess, if your brothers go to kill other brothers for plots of land, then you have no spirit. Because today brothers are divided by territories, and later they will fight on the same territory for beliefs, religion and household goods or any material values. Now this discord is already rising inside Russia with neighboring republics, which are people like us. In any country there are good and bad people, but we are children of the same God living in the same Mother Earth. Therefore, the spirit must be present, otherwise any actions are useless. Building up the spirit and strengthening it is possible in educational centers, where theoretical and practical knowledge will be imparted, as well as sports classes for men. In order for them to become men, not males who wear pants. Women also wear pants, but they cannot be called men, even if some of them will look like that. Now for the next point, cooperation. We have lost the ability to negotiate and cooperate. We need to improve this at the level of the ability to negotiate and realize that we have one goal, goodness for all mankind. Today, if there is cooperation, it is for selfish purposes. People think about how much they will get, and the rest of the world is not interested. This is foolishness. We are going to establish cooperation between organizations and corporations based on the declaration stated on our website. Investments are the most important issue. Many projects of Slavs are not realized because of lack of investments. Today there are so many amazing projects. Our member of the Coordinating Center, who made a great contribution to the creation of the declaration, which we have declared today, we can say that he is one of the founders, although we must state that we use the works of Sergei Groshev, who contributed to all this. This declaration was developed with the participation of Anatoly Kostov, one of the sages of our center. We have projects, plans and programs to invest in various projects. I will not tell you in detail, but we have all this, and we can devote a separate broadcast to it. Now I would like to pass the word to Dennis to announce the following articles from the declaration, which are in line with the given topic. Thank you for your attention.
3.1.6. The purpose of economic activity is to satisfy all material, mental and spiritual needs of every earthling through the world planning of food, clothing, natural social environment. 3. 1. 7. The goal of the global economy is to move from competition and parasitism based on the mechanism of money, profit and loan interest to cooperation and mutual support through the mechanisms of taking into account the volume of material and spiritual needs of everyone and the necessary volume of personal labor participation of everyone in meeting the needs of communities. Design and development of a new social environment putting spiritual values at the head of people's interests. Continuous materialization of the sense of knowledge and the spirit of reasoning, spiritualization of matter, release and management of individual and collective psychoenergy, creation of collective mind. 3. 1. 8. The whole construction of the just economy, people's national economy, global economy, follows the mission of the life system, their goals and objectives specified in the Declaration of the Communities, Cooperatives, Communities, Trade Unions, of the United Humanity of Mother Earth about their life structure, mission, moral and ethical values, goals, principles of like-minded people and co-creators of the social environment that perceives innovations. The main goal is to create a collective mind cohesion, so that the unified organism is coordinated and synchronized. This is the main goal of planet Earth, to develop a collective planetary mind. The principles of Varna's knowledge and Copa rights law will allow us to come to this collective mind.
Now we move on to the next topic, the economic basis and financing of projects. It is worth devoting a separate broadcast to this topic, but we will say a few words, so as not to prolong the broadcast. Project financing is the first basis of our movement. Without funding, nothing will work. Even for today to take our coordination center, it is already difficult for us to get together and discuss some points. In addition to the differences of ours, we live in different continents. I am in Los Angeles, Dennis is in Germany, and Anatoly is in Siberia. Accordingly, it is very difficult. But the main obstacle is also the lack of free time, because we have to work, we have to provide for ourselves, to pay our bills. To do this we have to work very hard to cover all the expenses. So there is very little time to deal with these issues. If we could get some funding to cover our expenses and make a bigger contribution to this organization, that would be great. We realize that no one is just going to fund us. Come on, do it guys. It's stupid, because everyone who has money is only set up for self-enrichment. And what kind of self-enrichment do they have with us? First of all, we must first realize what we are doing, get fully acquainted with the declaration, carry this declaration through our consciousness and heart, and only then make some conclusions. But this is not an easy process. At the moment we are organized in a cooperative, which is located in Siberia, and the founder of the cooperative is Anatoly Kustov. All three of us are members of this cooperative and we want to become active. In the same way, I'm going to open a cooperative in the United States and start international cooperation. It is clear that today there are so-called sanctions, and trade and commodity exchange with Russia is very complicated. But we have a project to find ways and bridges between Russia and the rest of the countries that support the sanctions lists to restrict Russia. This is another topic that I don't want to develop in this broadcast, but we can touch on it. We can, while avoiding sanctions, establish commodity exchange between the Russian Federation and the rest of the countries that have put forward sanctions against Russia. We have a plan, some aspects are still being worked out, but we will come to it by starting to cooperate between cooperatives. This is already an international level of cooperation, at the level of commodity exchange and other aspects that we will be able to voice in the future. Now I pass the word to Dennis to read out Article 3. 1 of the Declaration, which corresponds to this topic, and then we will continue.
Thank you, let's continue. Article 3. 1. We create a new just economic system in the united humanity of Mother Earth based on cooperation, mutual aid and mutual support in all spheres of activity for the benefit of all humanity and planet Earth. For this purpose, we create cooperatives and trade unions on the basis of cross-membership in a single international union of cooperation throughout planet Earth, the purpose of which is to provide humanity with all the necessary means and resources for the good existence of all Earthlings. Only harmonious relations and harmony between people and nature, and thus between people and the Creator, as well as various organizations, cooperatives, production enterprises and industrial complexes, countries, continents allow the whole world to prosper in all countries. This is our image of the construction of planet Earth, which is revealed in the following paragraph 3. 1. 2. Humanity of the whole Earth is one self-governing civilization, power with a planned economy based on consideration of the individual needs of each person and each country. 3. 1. 6. The goals of economic activity are the satisfaction of all material, mental and spiritual needs of every Earthling through the worldwide planning of food production, clothing, natural social environment. 3. 1. 7. The goals of the economy of the national economy, from competition and parasitism based on the mechanism of money, profit and judgmental interest, to move to cooperation and mutual support through the mechanism of taking into account the volume of material and spiritual needs of each and the necessary volume of personal labor participation of each, in meeting the needs of communities. The design and development of a new social environment that puts spiritual values at the head of people's interests, the continuous materialization of the sense of knowledge and the spirit of reasoning, the spiritualization of matter, the release and management of the human spirit, and the development of a new social environment. 3. 1. 8. The whole construction of the fair economy, people's national economy, global economy, follows the mission of the life building, their goals and objectives specified in the Declaration of the Communities, Cooperatives, Communities, Trade Unions of the United Humanity of Mother Earth on their life building, mission, moral and ethical values, goals, principles of like-minded people and creators of the social environment, accepting innovations.
Thank you, Dennis. Well, actually, everything is correct. Let's move on to the next topic. This is topic 6. It's called public awareness of our movement and our projects through television, internet, books, films, and educational centers. If no one knows about you, it will be very difficult to start interacting with serious people and organizations. That's why we use resources like the internet. We have a goal to reach out to television, first to local channels and then to more serious central channels in different countries. We are also envisioning live broadcasts so that as many people as possible will hear about our message. Because the original message was called The Tidings, which was presented by our organization. The message showed a generalized call, and the more detailed one is already expressed in the declaration with certain amendments. We also envisage shooting of documentary informational films on this topic, which will allow people to get more deeply into this. Because today's generation, mankind, is more receptive to movies. Not everyone wants to read, go to websites, look for something. It's easier to watch a movie. We realize that this is just one of the ways to convey to people what we call for, and it is quite an effective way. That's why shooting of documentaries on this topic is envisaged. When the project with the declaration will acquire a more informative meaning and everything will be presented in a reliable way, and for this we will need the participation of sages, people who are really like-minded with us and can bring their contribution to the common cause, in the form of their wise conclusions. On the basis of all this we will create a book, which we can present to all mankind, under the same name United Humanity of Mother Earth, using the symbol of Khan, a circle with a dot in the center. Alexei Orlov, whose writings are of great value to our organization, will also be invited to participate in this project. We hope he will participate at least for informational supplement and transfer of his knowledge for our common cause. Dennis, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I will add a little bit. Vitaly correctly pointed out that the declaration is the first step to create the book of the life book. First comes the name United Humanity of Mother Earth, then comes the life building, and then comes the declaration. This shows that the declaration is the first step to creating of the book of life building. We had such a notion in ancient times, our ancestors had such a notion, life building, and this word says it all, that is the system, according to which life is life, not life is an existence. Our first step is a declaration, which we intend to improve. We are waiting for companions, sages. What we have already more or less laid out, I would like to share. Here is what I have already shown, the scheme of the daisy, the sovereign state daisy of life building. There is already a second daisy. That is, I would like to clarify here. It turns out that the daisy I showed you is a general daisy, the direction of life building, and there is the direction of economic activity. It implies this petal that another daisy is revealed in it, the direction of economic actions. We have already structured and visualized this daisy too, and put it on the website. We also have a provision on the trinity of a fair economy, which includes an understanding of the trinity in the declaration, the direction of the life structure, how they are economically nested in each other. This is the second part. The third part is the provision of energy. At the moment we have the first place of finance, which we intend to move away from to other types of exchange. In addition to this, we have an Annex 1 that goes with the declaration. It highlights the principle of the golden ratio. We see this principle as the distribution of income into social levels and wages, but you have to read it to understand it. And also in conclusion, I would like to highlight what is currently on display. Not everything is on display yet. It may be already on display, because it's literally happening right now in process. The people who are assisting us deserve a great deal of gratitude. Here is Denis Petrov, who is helping us to do all this on a voluntary basis. There are very few people like that, especially among IT specialists, who, unfortunately, depend on finances and materialism. At the moment we are also exhibiting Anatoly Kustov's work on economic issues, how it could be calculated. This is a very interesting topic that could develop into a good economic understanding of how to distribute everything to us fairly and justly. The work is small compared to the volumes of Karl Marx. It is, shall we say, a small notebook. I have revealed a little bit of what we have already got there. We will further expand this topic, look for associates who will help us in this.
So, let's continue. We have the next topic, which is the unification of already existing organizations with similar goals into a single system. As I stated earlier, our organization is an economic family, a center for assembling all similar organizations into a single whole. We do not want to declare ourselves as a management center, but we want to say that we will be just a center of assembly and connection of all organizations that are ready to interact and cooperate, not to compete. About funding, there are also charitable foundations that raise money for various charitable actions. But it often resembles silly actions, like raising money to help children and so on, homeless children, children in orphanages, those suffering from poverty and so on. I'll give you an example to help you realize what these organizations are actually doing. Let's imagine that there is a certain room. There is a water faucet and a sink. The faucet is broken, the water is pouring non-stop, the drain pipe is clogged. The water overflows the sink and starts flooding the floor. The benefactors run around, people who help to foundations and donate. They mop the floor with rags, squeeze the water into buckets and carry it out of the room. Again and again, repeating the same actions, people have already gathered. They walk around proudly saying what good deeds they're doing. They clean up, they sort of dried the floor altogether, but the water continues to flood, and again it is necessary to apply human labor to dry the floor. It is elementary to shut off the water temporarily to fix the faucet, clean the clogged pipes to drain the water, and turn it on already fixed when needed. Then there will be no point in mopping up water on the floor because it won't flow there. If today's society lives in such a way that we have homeless children in homes and boarding schools, poverty in some countries, especially in African countries, in Ukraine, where the situation is very difficult, and in many other countries, where there are many poor and destitute people, pensioners, retired people in poverty, nobody needs them, it shows that the system does not work. There are correctional colonies, we call them a prison, so-called prisons, where people are sent, people supposed to be re-educated, but the same people return there, because no one re-educate them, they turn into even bigger criminals and come out completely unprepared to interact with society and return to crime. It's like the same water faucet. Everything goes back to the way it was, the system doesn't work. We need to fix the system, not run around mopping it up. We want to call on charitable organizations, foundations, social organizations to unite with us in order to direct the funds in another direction, to create educational centers and a new economy. All this is stated in the declaration, which we are going to translate into dozens of different languages, to acquaint people, representatives of organizations, individuals, politicians, so that they see a new view of the world. Those who are ready to interact will join us, and those who are not, will observe what is happening and either adapt, come to our side, or go aside and do not interfere. Otherwise, humanity will not be able to go, only through cooperation and collaboration for the common good. I'll pass the word to Dennis to read out 3 more articles from the declaration.
4. 1. 29. Voluntariness and openness of membership in the communities, their cooperatives, and their unions, freedom to become members of the various communities and freedom to withdraw from membership in the communities. 4. 1. 31. All communities and communities shall strive in association with other communities and communities on terms of cooperation to fully provide all their members with healthy food, ecological housing, clothing, household items, transportation, clean energy, healthcare, education, recreation, cultural development in the abundance of all necessary things. We do not intend to fixate on our views. We understand that society is now diverse. Everyone participates in the community that he considers close to himself in spirit. Our goal is, first of all, to look for people from the inner circle, like-minded people. In the outer circle are other communities striving for other principles, but our goal is to find common ground, to cooperate and build connections. Collaboration is described on the simple principles of providing ourselves with basic needs so that those needs are covered and freeing up time for productive enlightenment and other useful things. That is, we collaborate not only with like-minded people, but with those who will seek out these common ground. Here is the last article. 4. 2. 14. The basis of development, structuring in the creation and distribution of gross income between the production and social spheres of the communities, their cooperatives, and their unions on the basis of the principle of the golden section. This is exactly the point that is in the declaration, and Annex number 1 on the golden ratio is already posted on the website. We need to look a little bit into this golden ratio and how it is used to distribute social and productive income, and how resources are distributed within communities in general. The emphasis here is on distribution within the community, and we haven't met the power level yet. That concludes it.
Thank you, Dennis. Well, we have announced all the main topics that have been stated today. I would like to finish this speech with one phrase, which is known to almost everyone. We have learned to swim underwater like fish, fly through the sky like birds, it remains to learn to live on earth like humans. Accordingly, we have been given a mind to learn how to live as human beings. To be born a human doesn't mean to be a human, because a human learns to become a human. The same is true for men. To be born a man doesn't mean to be a man, but to be a man is about learning to become a man, and it requires a special effort. I can say the same about women, because the manifestation of masculine and feminine qualities, as well as human qualities, is essential. It is a certain inner labor. The birth of a person of a certain gender is only a given vector, along which he or she should move to. If you were born as a human being, you were born as a man or a woman, become one. I pass the word to Alexei Orlov and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, friends, for highlighting your topic. Of course, we can do another broadcast on each of these topics because the goals are generally good, but sometimes I see a kind of fixation on the substitutions that have been carefully planted in our minds. For example, I realized at one time that the desire to make money is a desire to get nowhere. The desire to make decent wages and pensions is also a movement to nowhere. We can, of course, announce in our community, let's give 100,000 salaries to all workers. That's great, but after a while, inflation rose, and these 100,000 turned into 1 ruble, Russian currency, for example. Well, 100,000. That is, the nominal value is there, but you can buy as much with this 100,000 as you can buy now, for example, for a ruble. That is, you can buy less goods. So trying to define wealth with money is a dead-end path. It will lead nowhere. I'm very upset when people say, we need to organize such and such options for earning such and such. In my opinion, it is necessary to create conditions for life, prosperity, which is measured not by money, as in a family. In a family, they do not pay each other for something. I do not pay my spouse for the fact that she cooked me a delicious dinner, and she does not pay me for the fact that I did something on the beds or took her somewhere. We are forced to have a common pot, a money kitty, in order to spend something outward. If we join with other families in associations, we don't need money within those associations. We need something that provides for our life as a family. There will be some money between associations, but then when the associations interact more closely, we realize that money is not needed between them either. We need conditions in different regions for people to live. We can get from other regions what we don't have. Some have sunshine, some have beautiful views, some have fertile soil, and so on. I used to conduct such interesting experiments at seminars when people would come up and ask, how much money do you need? What is your salary? People would name big numbers, and then I would put it down through inflation, and it would turn out that it was actually a dead end. Let's imagine what it takes to grow bread. Plow a field, plant grains. Then a man grows each grain. No, it all exists in nature. Then it's only necessary to make sure that it grows. For a man to harvest grain, he needs to eat, dress, move, live in something. And the one who supplies equipment, does he live on money? No, he needs it all too. If we provide every member of our big power association with everything necessary for life, and not only for survival, then the question of money disappears by itself. If you have free transportation, if good housing is built, if there is a department that monitors its condition, if there are no markets to sell, but there are points where you can take what is produced, then you can get all this for free. Then there is a paradox. If you can move around to do something useful for yourself, your family, your society, if you have normal housing and no money circulation, then even if you want more, where will you put it? It will rot and deteriorate. Yeah, you'll clutter up the apartment with stuff, and then what? Well, there'll be a few idiots like that, but eventually we'll get to that. The question of money is not a question at all. We are moving to a moneyless economy, which allows a person not to think about where to earn money, but to think about where to work in order to prove himself as a human being, to benefit himself, his family, society, and the world. Feel the difference. If you make money one way or another, there will still be a question of who has less and who has more. Or I see that someone has a good thing, and I say that I also need one. Please make me one. And the craftsmen do it. Thus, we don't fill up landfills. We don't waste extra resources of the earth. We don't try to extract with overabundance, except that there should be a small stockpile, just in case. Tax-free economy. Those who work for society are not taxed, but I already work for society. What taxes can be taken from me? I have brought a lot of things to society. I have extracted resources, built a house, and so on. Why should I be taxed? If we live by this principle, I extract as much as I need for our country, for the state, and the state fully supports me, what taxes should I be taxed for? And before that, one more step, a single tax on consumption goods. Everything that is sold in stores, any services that are sold, a single tax 10%, no VAT. Everything that is given to the consumer is subject to a single tax, a tithe. Imagine how many idle states will immediately evaporate. They will start doing business. Well, if we go through the whole air, I see that such splinters pop up in one way or another. And of course, it is necessary to understand that this center is collection and management. The word management will be here anyway. Don't put it on yourself. Because if there is just coordination, assembly of coordination, then there will be a parasite that will want to take over the management. No, this is not the way to do it. If we are the representatives of the people and the people's power, we want to check. Then it will be management. Yes, new people will come who are better than us at something, and we will hand over both management and power to them. We will step aside to do what is more typical for us. But at the first stage, one way or another, this coordination assembly center should be managed, because parasites hold on to power, and they will gladly take power from your good hearts, accept it with a bow, and put golden monuments to you. There is talk about investments. In fact, I am ready to accept investments from parasites at the first stage, if the program is calculated correctly and will bring us a large income with the goals we have outlined. Then we will not need the next investments from parasites. We will honestly pay them back, pay interest on the contract, but next time we will not need their investments. We will have an abundance of monetary resources that we can spin to achieve our goals. Move away from monetary relationships in families, communities, intercommunity, and interstate relationships. Do not give up what can be utilized now for the benefit of us all. The only thing is that we must not become dependent on it. These are my wishes for the project. Another wish is to think over the sequence of transition. If you want, you can join the seminars that are now taking place in Yekaterinburg and are expected to take place in Irkutsk in August. The seminar is a 2-day event where all these issues will be discussed step by step. If we simply declare what we want to do, it is ideology, worldview, world understanding. But if there is no step-by-step movement from modern life and people's perception to a new society, we will not achieve what we need. We need steps 1, 2, 3, responsible people in their places, understanding of the goals at each stage. The whole business scheme must exist, and the goals must be achievable. In this case, everything will be great. If you want to add something, clarify, argue, please.
Thank you, Alexei. I will take the initiative. Everything has been heard, I fully agree, I can sign under every word you say. Apparently, we missed some points in our report or did not reveal them sufficiently. For example, when I talked about interaction and Anatoly Kustov and his project, the parasites tried to connect not because he did not want to interact with them, but because he initially saw that their goal was to deceive or transfer resources to themselves. In such cases, we say no. We are not against the infusion of finances from not entirely fair people or parasitic organizations that pursue only profit. We can establish mutually beneficial relationships, they will get their interest, and the funds we receive will be channeled in the right direction. Regarding a moneyless economy, that's our main challenge. To get away from the monetary system. This is stated several times in the declaration. We can devote a separate broadcast to the topic of moneyless relations. We have schemes for assessing the labor of the hour, covering the basic income of each person without a monetary system. We are ready to show how it can work in the next broadcast. We conducted experiments, showed this system to people far from such things, and it seemed very fair and tempting to them. And these were representatives of the first and second Varna, who are now the main population of the planet. We are ready to discuss this on the next broadcast. We will be glad if you make your corrections and additions. We are open to wise people who will help in this labor. We need people who is wise and talented to make decisions in main issues. We will not take whoever into a narrow decision-making circle, but we will be open to everyone. As for governance, when I said that we are not the center that will rule the whole world, it is only so that people with a lower worldview will not think that we are creating a new world government from a parasitic point of view. Naturally, our organization will take on the role of a control center at some point. But we are always open to wise men, people with similar views, who are willing to make a better contribution than we can. We don't have a single leader, we are all on equal terms. If smarter and wiser people come in, we will give way to them. If more productive people come in, why should we stay in this place? We started this, and already units like Anatoly and Vladimir have joined. We have a pretty good team, coherent, and without contradictions. But when the wiser and more competent ones come, and we see that they really live according to conscience and goodness, we will gladly hand over the management to them. Not for the sake of getting rid of the reins of government, but for the sake of increased efficiency. Here ego must be reduced to a barley grain, because if there is ego, it is already a big problem for both the individual and society. Like you said, handing over the reins to the wiser and more efficient is the right thing to do. Until that is in place, we are operating as we are and trying to do the best we can. As I said, the declaration is in place, but it is flexible, ready for amendments, additions and improvements. With the emergence of wise men, it will be improved even more, translated into other languages to bring it not only to the Russian-speaking population, but to the whole world. That's the end of it. Thank you, Alexei, for your addition, which was quite reasonable.
At the moment, I meet many people who are representatives of the business community. They don't know each other, but they know their circles. In these circles, there are millionaires, medium, and large businesses. They get these thoughts and ideas thrown to them, and a lot of people get it, maybe not completely, but 50% for sure. They realize that it's becoming more difficult to live in competition because the market is oversaturated, taxation and competition are getting tougher. And many people remember the 90s, how good it was. Now many businesses are being optimized, especially at the state level, where oligarchs are picking up everything for themselves, and then international corporations take them over. And many people are beginning to suspect this. We have been talking about this for years, and in fact, we are telling the truth. Corporations are getting bigger and squeezing out small businesses. That's why the question is how to live on. If you come as a big billionaire to some corporation, at best, you will become a participant of all this for some time. Then you will be thrown out of there. They will take everything you own. They will attach your corporation as a segment, and then you will be neatly relegated and thrown out for a well-deserved rest. And this is the center of management coordination. When you bring such an idea, people start to pay attention. 2 serious communities have already embraced the idea. If we talk to other communities, short clips for 5 to 10 minutes, it will go in. There will come a point of bringing entrepreneurs together at one round table to merge and maximize their opportunities. I suggest having conversations with the leaders of such communities, delivering the right ideas in short clips. A businessman does not like moralizing. He needs specifics, ideology, and a plan of action. Dennis, did you have something to add?
Yes, I will return to the topic of management. I am positioning myself as a person who is going down the path of Copa law of universe. This is precisely the topic of governance. You were right, we were talking about the focal point, leaving out the word governance. At the moment it looks like that, because we are coordinating the movement and forming it. We realize that at some point we will have to take over the management, forming the environment we are striving for. In the declaration, there is point 1, 2, 11. The supreme governing body of the united humanity of Mother Earth is the circle of rulers elected according to the Copal law with the right to vote on decision-making at the Council of the Wise, approved by them, from the Council of Professional Structures with the right of deliberative vote. The main function of the Circle of Rulers and the Council of the Wise is to assess the expediency of making managerial decisions at all levels, to determine the tactics and strategy of the development of mankind, to identify threats to the development of mankind, to form the life building and approve it for implementation by the Circle of Rulers. Since at the moment there is no structure of governing bodies according to the Kopna law, the powers of the supreme governing body are exercised by the circle of founders of the movement of the united humanity of Mother Earth until the moment of solving the task of creating and establishing the structure of the life center according to the patterns of the Kopna law and transferring their powers to this structure according to the law of universe. I want to confirm with this that we understand who the coordination center will have to take over the management, but our message is that we have now a circle of 3 people who make decisions. It was initially wider, but the employment of people does not allow to take part, so at the moment we have 3 people who are constantly in touch, organize everything, and the rest of the men who are included in the circle. They are like in a consultative circle. So we come back to them in terms of competence and they educate us. Our intention is to enlarge the circle if like-minded men come along. We are in favor of governing from the circle with a unanimous decision. That is, the circle will be envisioned as a decision-making unit. Representatives of the circle will be competent in different areas and make decisions together. We are ready to adjust the declaration according to life circumstances.
There is also such a strategic vision. I suggest that at the first stage, we speak in a language that people understand, so that there is no rejection. If we use high-minded or incomprehensible words, people may consider us sectarians or sick people who speak in incomprehensible words. I was asking questions like, how do you feel about the organization United Humanity of Mother Earth? Immediately, there were some hang-ups, and people said, I like United Humanity, and I like the New Just World too, but Mother Earth reminds me of something religious. And that is why these two words at the first stage often alarm people. And I suggest at the first stage, having in mind that we, of course, are all sons and daughters of our Mother Earth, to speak less about what can repel a person and to speak in the usual language. Otherwise, arguments and accusations of some kind may start, and this is a very unpleasant phenomenon.
Yes, I realize that most often these questions can arise exactly with the representatives of the first Varna first of all. They are the majority, and their worldview is, as a rule, quite narrowed. Probably some people have heard songs such as Mother Earth. Mother gave birth, the earth, and everyone realizes that we have always called the earth as Mother. And when humanity unites on this Mother Earth, there is no contradiction here. The name itself speaks for itself. And this organization does not present itself as a sect. A sect is that which is cut off. And we are not a sect at all. If a person is not ready to perceive even from at least one name or from such statements, it means that he is not ripe for it yet. Organizational centers will be created, which will make it possible to reconsider. In any case, I agree with you that small short clips are needed. The person who runs our YouTube channel and edits our videos makes short clips that allow us to find these short phrases in the internet space that will hook us, so that we can get to the full interview if we are interested. Any information that got to everyone, let it be a small moment that hooked a person, and later he begins to water this seed with other information rains of a similar kind. This is very important. Short videos that give a clear and precise explanation. Therefore, this is taken into account, and we will try to launch in the future on the same topic, as, let's say, a similar interview for an hour and more, and launch short videos that clearly explain our goals, ways and steps to achieve these goals. This will allow in the online space for people to hear it. In this case it is. We are always prepared that there will be attacks, misunderstandings, and this is quite natural and normal process for all organizations, both benign and not so benign. Those who are not ready to do something are ready to condemn with great zeal. This is normal, a natural process.
I have always spoken in our broadcasts and behind the scenes, my thoughts not from the point of view of praising something, lashing out at someone, or criticizing someone. I share my thoughts, which I note in the people, which come through some of my channels. Practice shows that if we put such thoughts together, things move faster. If we lock ourselves in one thing, we slow down. You repeated the same word twice in your answer. If it is not ready, this is exactly what we are talking about. When we prepare a serious project for modern people, there should not be anything repulsive in the name of the project. This is a psychological fact. Any psychologist will tell you this. Everything should be clear so that a person does not get stuck. Otherwise, many people try to explain something and so on, while our task is to immediately attract people to something useful. That's why I suggest that we think about the name in even more detail so that it would be easier to start, so that it wouldn't be discouraging. I like this approach, maternal, earthly, but here we have people writing, where is the father? Yes, they forgot about the father. Again, they said that mother took a lot on herself. The feminine beginning is very strongly manifested, and they forgot about the father. This is what I see and observe now. Well, Denise, what do you have to say about it?
Yes, I wanted to additionally ask Vitaly a question about the united humanity of Mother Earth, exactly Mother Earth, since he is in America. Vitaly, share, how do people there generally feel about that title of Mother Earth when you position?
I conducted a survey, and I showed our clip called The Message to different representatives of different nationalities in English language here in USA. The clip is translated into different languages, Arabic and so on. There are representatives of almost all nationalities here, which allowed me to conduct such a survey. I showed the first message called The Message to representatives of different nationalities, different continents, living on the territory of the USA. They have no preconceived notions, they don't know me, sometimes they are just random people. They have no interest in flattering me and telling me that I am doing something good. They watch and say what resonates with them. People are absolutely thrilled. There have even been some who have said with tears in their eyes, "We will pray for you succeed. The world needs this project right now." That's what U.S. citizens are saying, from different cultures and ethnicities, with different backgrounds from different parts of the world. I've done this survey, even if it's a few hundred people, but it's a serious indicator. That is why I give my clear word at once: the name is not changeable, I will not leave it. If the Coordination Center decides that it is necessary to change it, or says that I should leave the Circle of Coordination Center if I don't change, I am ready to leave. But the name has been tested, how it resonates in people's hearts. If on the territory of the Russian Federation there are people with a sick mind or in a spiritually sick state, who are not ready to perceive elementary words, in which there are no contradictions, then they simply have no way with us. I do not want to unite everyone, especially parasites. What are they for? If a person is unable to understand elementary things when they say Mother Earth and unification of humanity and it raises questions, he starts looking for a father. This person should first of all go to mental hospital and there pass a rehabilitation program. If elementary things raise questions, then a person is spiritually unhealthy. Such people have already tried to infiltrate our organization. We removed the chat room on the channel so that people would not write, because they wrote such things that I do not want to waste time on disputes. We removed the chat room because of spiritually unhealthy people. We don't need to bring them together. We are designed for those who are ready, to whom it resonates, or who intend to. Those who are not ready, why do we need them? They will only bring discord and division. There is a parable, and probably everyone knows it, where an old man and his grandson were riding on a donkey. The old man was sitting on the donkey and his grandson was walking beside him. People said, "What is it?" The old grandfather climbed on the donkey, and the young one is walking. He is too small for long walks. He should have changed positions. The old man changed his position, stood next to donkey and sat his grandson on donkey. They went further and people said, "Look, the old man can hardly move, he is barely walking, but the little young one seems to be healthy, he has enough strength." Old man decided sat on a donkey together with the child and they rode on. People say, "What's the matter?" They don't feel sorry for the donkey, it can barely carry the two of them. Poor donkey. Two of them have climbed on. Grandpa's lost his mind. The conclusion is no matter how you change your position, you will never please people. A million people, a million opinions, and everyone will see something different and will want you change something. If I start tweaking the title to fit everyone's vision, if I start tweaking, my head will start spinning so much that I'll end up going crazy myself. There is a message that I received from above during certain meditations. Take it however you want, although we have different gurus, I am in touch with God there and so on. I am not going to say that. I was in that state, got an image of a flag, which I then started looking up on the internet to see what it even meant and what that color means. I wasn't even aware of it. That's how it all originated. So if I receive some messages on the subtle plane of interaction with the divine world, I will not modify them and adjust them to the minds of people whom I will never be able to please. I don't need people who are not on the way with me. We do not gather everyone, but those who are ready. The organization is built for those who are ready. To drag everyone to turn our society into a collection of morons who will only fight among themselves and argue. Look, even just to take today's ancient Slavic alphabet, it has become a subject of dispute and discord of many Slavic communities. This one sees it this way, this one explains it this way, that one explains it differently. And what? People are not ready. So I will not adjust to those who are not ready. I hope that Dennis supports me in this respect, and Anatoly, respectively, is like-minded. Because, as they say, we are in harmony on many issues. Although there may be disagreements somewhere, but we find a common opinion and solutions very quickly. So in any case, no matter who says what to me, see point 1, the story of the old man and the child. I'm done.
Yes, I certainly want to add to that by saying that I 100% support Vitaly. He and I are actually 100% almost like-minded. Well, in this respect, I would add something to the idea that the name contains mother, yes, the feminine beginning. Some people may see it from the point of view of, you are drawn to women again, right? Well, we're just going to position it differently. The position was that Mother Earth is waiting for men who will restore order on this Mother Earth. Yes, so that means we are calling for men to bring that order to our Mother Earth. That's it. And when men become men, it will happen. So this message is exactly in this direction. Accordingly, in our worldview, in our heritage, yes, the Earth has always been mother. And the sun, the light, to warm her, to give her warmth, and she gave these fruits, the nature that we observe, which has not yet been completely destroyed, and that there is still a possibility to revive it all. For this we need men, real men.
I wanted to continue further. Dennis often speaks directly with my thoughts and words, which brings me very close to him. I want to say something, he already says it. This is what we do systematically, which is why we called each other spiritual brothers. Yes, really, here is a person who asked a question, where is the Father? And who are you? Are you a man? Well, become a father of Mother Earth, as they say, or the same, respectively, a man with masculine energy, who will approve everything that needs to be done on this earth. Do you not take God into account? You can perceive him as male energy, and Mother Earth is female energy. And man is the one who still orders everything. You were born in this body to learn how to interact with all people and bring out all the best qualities and create paradise on this earth. You could put it this way. So, who doesn't see the masculine energy? Well, look at yourself, maybe you don't have it. That's why this is happening to you. Where is the father? Where's the father? Did you grow up with a father? If not, then we need to get back to the topic I was hitting on. Why do we have such imbalanced men running around looking for male energy? Yes, because you don't have enough of it. That's why you have this question. But I am not blaming those people. It's just the way the situation is. And if you were born in some family, you were born with lack of male energy, so this is your main task, work on it, become a father. A father not only from the notion that you have given birth to children and you have 7 at home, but a father as a man, as an example on Mother Earth. Show your masculine energy. Dennis said it right to the point. There are not enough husbands. The problem on the planet, on Mother Earth, today on Mother Earth we have one problem. There are not enough real men, with a capital letter, with a male core inside. That's why we can't agree, we can't find common ground, we can't build a new world, and that's the only reason why there are wars. The whole problem is men. And if they say that our women are not, as I said earlier, women will be exactly as men will be. A man will not allow promiscuous women to appear near him or in his surroundings and behave inappropriately. And if they do, well, there you go. And there goes all that promiscuity. Become men, and then you'll have women around you. They will quickly readjust to your new world. They do not even need to be retrained. Everything is inherent in them by nature. Become men.
Well, that's great. I think that we have quite an extensive program, and in order not to prolong it, I propose to end it on such a correct, solemn note, and for each of you to say a phrase or perhaps a message that will set a person in the mood for something good in love, joy, and happiness. Yes, let's start with Dennis.
Okay. My message to everyone is that every person should think about why he or she came to this earth, what brought him or her here. He should answer this question to himself. When he answers this question, then I suggest him to ask the next question that he will have, so that he starts to develop in this direction. That's about it. Maybe it's a bit strange, but here's the first thing that came to mind.
Thank you. Good, great. Vitaly, a word for you to end the broadcast on positivity, on love, joy, and happiness.
Yes, sometimes I seem a bit emotional, but actually it's just a habit by work. I worked as a tour guide for 15 years, so speaking loudly and emotionally is my profession. I drove groups around Barcelona, Spain and France for 15 years, so it's inherent to me. So I would go back to that theme. I think it's a primal thing. Men, become real, strong men, decent, just, living according to your conscience in harmony with nature. And in this way the world will be ordered by your deeds and we will achieve the tasks that have been set before us. Without you men, we will do nothing, and all our appeals that have been made today will be useless. The ship will remain breached, and we will go underwater. If you have heard our message, act, build up your masculine qualities, acquire a masculine core and warrior spirit, and act. All the best wishes, good to be.
Thank you to everyone who participated in the broadcast today, both on and off the air. I think that we will continue to discuss this very important topic, in my opinion, and we will also deal with it honestly and ask tricky questions. And I am glad that there are honest answers, and I suggest that we continue to deal with the economic topic. I also propose to consider the transitional stages, this path of development, the very goal in more detail, and perhaps to give some guidelines. Who can now come where to participate at different levels of their capabilities in order to form a common cause. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank the participants of today's broadcast, all those who listened to us, those who were here on camera. I wish everyone all the best. See you soon. Good to be.
Народное славянское радио. Для пытливых умов.